Hi everyone, welcome back to another Reddit cheating story. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and notification bell if you love to watch more cheating stories. If you want to know how to get back your ex-girlfriend and boyfriend, click the link below.
He thinks I'm a moron. This guy, M20, and I, F21, have been together for almost a year and a half. I fell pregnant with his child a month before he turned 1 year old, and I was surprised at how long it took after all the unprotected sex we had previously. I'll admit it, he was never as loyal to me as I was to him. I don't regret having an unplanned child, in fact, I believe I can do so. I believe he intended to leave me when he found out I was pregnant, but he couldn't because we now have a child. I'm only 5 months old, so I'm just starting to show and grow. I've always heard stories about pregnant women being cheated on, but I never expected it to happen to me now that I'm expecting a child. It's common knowledge that pregnant women lose their libido, and that's exactly what happened to me. I became less interested in sex since it didn't feel as good to me because all I could think about was the baby and how strange it was for the kid. I would pleasure him when I felt like it, and it would sometimes work, but I didn't have enough sex drive to get into it as often as I used to. I noticed the shift in myself, and I'm sure he did as well, but I assumed he'd understand why I felt that way. We didn't have as much sex as we used to because it was more for him to get off my back for a few weeks so he wouldn't bother. I used to work 40 hours a week, which consumed most of my day. I leave at 8 p.m. and the very latest, 9 p.m. I recently purchased a car for my baby, and I feel like I'm the only one preparing for our arrival. Because of how early he went to work, he used to take my car to work in the morning. I came in around lunchtime, hoping that he would take me on his lunch break, and he did. He encouraged me to start driving more to familiarize myself with the roads, which I did. He requested me to use the car the next day since he needed to drop off some tools at his mother's place, and I didn't see anything wrong. I was concerned about whether he could drive me to work because he would sometimes go to lunch with his coworkers, leaving me to Uber to work. I discovered he was friends with a girl he talked to while we broke up for a few weeks, a few days before he asked. I instinctively thought that was weird. I didn't tell him about it until a few days later, and when I told him that night, he just grinned and said, "Okay, I'll block her." I didn't mind the answer, it was the fact that he didn't do it immediately away from that upset me. I asked him, "Hey, did you unfriend that girl?" He said he had forgotten. I also observed that he created a new Snapchat account, which I thought was strange considering he had destroyed his previous account because he didn't use it. He took 2 days to delete this girl from his page, but the night before he did, I texted her and sent her a friend request because I had a gut feeling. Then he drove my car to work that morning, we were having cereal and just enjoying each other's company, so I kissed him goodbye and waited until it was time for his lunch so I could go to work. I accepted his text that he couldn't since his boss would speak with them about pay raises, but I was also irritated about taking an Uber to work because the Uber I got was quite chatty, and I wouldn't say I like talking during trips. I drove myself to work and worked my 8-hour shift as normal. He then picked me up from work, and I brought this delectable cake home. We went to bed after a typical night. I had the following day off, so I planned to get something for my baby shower. The morning went as usual. I prepared him some cereal, and we watched television until he had to leave for work. I kissed him goodbye and said my I love yous. My pulse was racing because I was thinking about what if she answered, "Yeah, they've been talking," and that's exactly what happened. I checked to see if that lady texted me back, and she did. I texted her, "Really? Since that's my boyfriend," and she responded, "Wait, you'll be together," which made my heart race even faster because I had only seen him that morning. He said we weren't together and that he couldn't go since he was expecting a baby, she said. I thought about how he lives with me and drives around in my car. From there, things just got worse. To cut away all the unnecessary details and get to the point, he was texting and calling me, pleading with me to talk about this like humans. He also informed me that he told her nothing would happen between them because they had already spoken. "Sorry to break it to you, but we fucked," she said, and my heart broke as I read that he was telling me how pleased he was about the baby since I had his kid that morning. I inquired when that happened, and she answered about 9 or 10 a.m. yesterday, and I sobbed because that's when he texted me saying he couldn't drive me to work. I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, how could he have the audacity to pick me up from work and stare me down while I'm holding his baby? I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, how could he have the audacity to pick me up from work and look at me in the face while I'm holding his baby? I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, how could he have the audacity to pick me, then fall asleep right next to me, like if it were any other night? When I returned home, the room had been cleaned, and the clothing had been put away, which I thought was odd because he hadn't done that in a long time. I didn't acknowledge it because it seemed odd to me. How could I believe a random bitch if he called and texted me? He was lying out his ass while this lady kept revealing more and more truth. So, he and she made plans to meet up that morning, and they went to a motel and fucked. He was over there picking her up 30 minutes away while he texted me that he couldn't pick me up on his lunch break. They were wrapping up their session when I got in the Uber. She emailed me a selfie she took in my car while in the hotel. I requested him to show me his bank statements on his phone to verify if that was accurate, and he flatly refused, which told me all I needed to know. She couldn't believe how she continued to lie about everything. I asked her how my car looked, and she said it looked just like it, so I questioned how she knew, and she just said I was snapping at her while driving, which didn't help my mood. I'd had enough, so I went. He contacted me as I left, and after 2 hours of searching, he revealed that, somehow, a motel was charged on his card, proving that he was lying. After 10 minutes, he admitted that we did fuck and went to a motel. That night, I whined to him about how much I didn't particularly appreciate taking the Uber, but he didn't mind. I just sat there crying my eyes out and asking why it took him so long to acknowledge it to me when I heard him say that. Nothing except lies after lies. She appeared to be in good spirits in the images she gave, and I couldn't help but think about myself and my baby and how he could harm us while driving my car. She also instructed me to ask him if he cummed in her so she could acquire a backup plan, and I was stunned by how messed up the scenario was. I urged her to acquire one just in case, and he claims they used protection, but I know that's a lie because we just talked about how he doesn't like to use protection not long ago from the circumstance. He was never interested in helping me plan the baby shower or accompanying me to my checkups before, but now he wants to be a part of it and watch me develop. I sincerely hope he's pissed because the fact that he had the nerve to confront me that night only proves he doesn't care or love me. He treated me with the utmost contempt. Here is the greatest comments, advice for this wonderful article that I gathered. You stayed with a known cheater and became pregnant with him. Did you think it would make him quit cheating? A cheater is not going to quit cheating. He's unconcerned about you or the baby. Remove him from your home, take him to court, and obtain full custody and child support from him. Allowing him to drive your automobile is a bad idea. He can use Uber to get to work. Staying with a serial cheater is never a good idea. You were aware of it before becoming pregnant. Never stay with someone disrespectful to you. Never stay with someone who thinks so little of you that he jeopardizes your health and the health of your unborn kid. Because you believe, oh fuck it, I'm here, I can take care of this unfaithful man's baby, and everything will come together, he totally won't leave the baby and me. As you're not good enough for him, some women need better standards and more respect for themselves. I'm sorry, but you put yourself in such a horrible and perhaps irresponsible situation. Your partner is a jerk, and no one deserves to be cheated on, especially when expecting a child, but darling, you should have seen it coming. I'm hoping you're going to leave him. If you don't give him a ride right away, don't allow him to use your car. He's taking advantage of your situation. Sweetheart, he's not going to change, in my opinion. You're still young, so don't waste your time and energy attempting to change or relying on a cheapskate liar and cheater who probably still uses your automobile for his nefarious activities. Yes, there is a baby on the way, but neither you nor your baby will benefit if you are stressed out. If you believe that having a child will transform your life, I'm sorry to bust your fantasy bubble. It won't. You're not ignorant, you're idealistic, optimistic, and a little naive about relationships, which aren't always bad traits as long as you can reason things out. You don't require his services. You are already self-sufficient in work, while you still can work, and own a car. Your relationship is now shattered, and the way things are going, it will only get worse. Its sounds have destroyed trust, and a relationship without trust is doomed. You can't try to reconcile a hopeless relationship with no love, one-sided love unless you both work to heal it. But I don't see any reason for you to trust or heal your connection with this moron, regardless of whether or not there's a baby involved. That would be tortuous and inequitable to you and your child. This is just my opinion. I'm not telling you what to do, but I believe you should end your relationship with him. You may adore him, but he does not adore you. After what he has done, he could look you in the eyes and cuddle in bed with you without feeling guilty. Return your car to him, he does not deserve to drive it. He should either ride Uber to work or save money to buy his car. If he protests, you must remain firm. The car is yours, not his. I'm not sure what you were expecting to hear or if you were looking for guidance, but you don't need this scenario or him. You should be joyful and have healthy interactions with others because you are pregnant. You can only have faith in yourself, and you are so valuable. I strongly advise you not to accept anything or anything less than the best. Leave him alone and refuse to let him utilize any of your belongings. If he needs stuff, he can use Uber. You are not deserving of what he has done to you. Keep your focus on you and the baby, and don't let him return. He doesn't give a damn about you, and I seriously doubt he loves you. I'm truly sorry for what he did to you. A baby won't fix your relationship. If he doesn't respect you as a woman, he certainly won't respect you as the mother of his child, or his child for that matter. I wouldn't even continue that relationship because just reading that made me stressed for you and the baby. Respect yourself and do what's best for you and your baby. Don't let him guilt you into staying. He's constantly lying to your face. No, sweetie, you might end up depressed. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Please tell me what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and press the notification button. Keep an eye out for more cheating stories.